welcome to another episode of Coming Up Milhouse.
Welcome.
If you would like to subscribe, we have a little subscribe button right down below me. So go ahead and give it a subscribe and give this episode a like if you like it. So today, our episode we chose was Bart the Mother. It's season 10, episode 3.
So I'll give you a little quick recap about what it's about. Marge gets this letter where all the kids in America's name is in this book, and she thinks it's an accomplishment. And it's one of them scams where they're like, send $95 and you can get this book that lists your kid as a scholar or something. And it's just everyone's name's in it. So
it's the Who's Who in America book.
That's what it's
and
called.
Guess whose name was in that book.
Nice. Marge decides they deserve a treat since they got their names in this book, and so they go to this arcade fun zone kind of thing, and a bunch of silly stuff happens there. But while they're there, Nelson steals a bunch of those tickets that you get out of the arcade machines, and he gets a BB gun. And Bart's all enthralled about this BB gun. He thinks it's cool. He wants to take a shot at it. So Bart goes to Nelson's house, and he just wants to shoot the gun. He doesn't want to do anything bad with it, but Nelson goads him into shooting at a bird's nest, and Bart tries to miss, but he doesn't miss, and he ends up getting a bird, and Marge finds out about it, and she's not too happy with Bart, and Bart feels guilty, so he decides to go up into the nest. There's some eggs in there, and he's going to take the nest and hatch the eggs, hence the title Bart the Mother. Becomes the mother of these hatchlings. But we come to find out that these eggs in the bird's nests are not what they seem. And that's
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and that's the basic premise of the episode there. And that's like Gail said, it's not the funniest premise, but it gets us where we need to. And there are some pretty good one-liners going on. So you want to do your favorite best line?
Okay. So my favorite part of this entire episode is actually the beginning when they go to the arcade. So probably most of my conversation will revolve around that. But they are driving as a family to this family fun center, and Homer gets out of the car and he stretches and he says, "Man, it feels good to get out of the car. Ooh, go-karts!" And then they go on a go-kart ride.
Yeah, so he's like griping about having to drive, and then he's like, "Oh, let's go drive some more," and it's fun. That was hilarious. My first line goes to the arcade too, but it's after they get back, and it's actually an exchange between Bart and Lisa, so it's more than just like one line. It's a couple of lines. But I love it. So they only got like a couple of tickets and got some crummy prizes. So it's Lisa says, "What prize did you get?" And Bart says, "Mustache comb." "What did you get?" And Lisa says, "Fake mustache." "Want to comb it?"
Want to comb it. That's a good one.
So that is a good one.
Uh-huh.
What about number 2?
So later on in the episode, Bart is up in his treehouse and he's trying to keep these eggs that he's trying to protect warm, and he has extension cords going up the tree and up into the tree house, and he has a 75-watt bulb that he learned about. Our director's getting in the way.
Mm-hmm. Don't mind him.
Anyway, so he has this 75-watt bulb and the extension cords, and Marge is just really frustrated and wants to know what he's doing up in the treehouse. And then she goes out to investigate, and she exclaims, "My good gray extension cord!"
It's just one of them, so silly, It's like she's upset about the Bart's making mischief, but it's like a gray extension cord. Right. That was the rub. That was the rub, Yeah, that was funny. All right, so number 2 for me is when Bart goes to Nelson's. He knows he's not supposed to go. Marge doesn't want him to go. So Lisa covers for him. And then Marge finds out about it anyway. And then as she's going to get Bart, she says to Homer, "Punish Lisa for lying about Bart." And so Homer's punishment, he says, I want you to march to the grocery store and get me some chips and a beer. And get something else for yourself. And gives her some money. And that was his punishment. He's going to send an 8-year-old to the Quickie Mart or wherever it was. And I think it was Quickie Mart. To get chips and a beer. That was funny.
Yeah, and a little something for
yourself. And a little something for yourself. That's a punishment.
Oh my goodness. So, what's your favorite scene?
Troy McClure.
I love Troy McClure.
There's a scene where Bart's trying to learn how to take care of the eggs. And so he goes and he looks at a video and it's Troy McClure. And he's like, "You've seen me in such nature videos as..." I can't remember the silly titles he said. I didn't write that down. But it's Troy McClure showing Bart how to take care of eggs. And it's funny to me because he's like, this bird can fight off mongooses and badgers, but the one thing it can't fight off is some metal tongs. And he picks
up the bird.
Picks the bird up and looks at the eggs.
Yep.
And then there's this kid called Billy in the video, and he's like, it's like he's educating Billy, and he's telling Billy about regurgitation for how they feed the chicks. And Billy's like, "That's gross." And Troy's like, "It sure is, Billy. It sure is." And that's how the video ends.
And then during that scene, Bart's writing down notes, and he writes, 75-watt bulb, regurgitation, Billy.
Billy.
Those were his notes.
Like he needs to know about Billy to take care of things. So that was my best scene. What's your best scene?
My favorite scene is from the beginning of the episode where they are at the Family Fun Center, and they are at the batting cages, and Homer puts his quarter in, and he's in the batting cage, and he swings and he misses, and he swings and he misses again, and then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna walk me," and then he swings and he misses again, and then he gets really, really angry at the batting ball toss machine, and he points his finger, and then a ball hits his finger, and it hits his head, and it hits him all over different body parts that aren't very comfortable, and he falls on the ground, and then the ball machine just keeps shooting balls at him, and he's rolling over, and he's making a lot of funny noises, and Bart's just, his reaction instead of "Oh, Dad," is, "Oh, you sure get a lot of balls for a quarter there." So that's my favorite scene.
That is a great scene. I love how, like, the ball is shooting in the, in the batting zone, but as Homer falls down, it aims down and it's hitting him in the butt and it's hitting him in the back.
All over.
That was great.
It's out for vengeance because he was making fun of it.
Because he was yelling at it, yeah. So that brings us to winners and losers.
Oh, I had a better second line.
Well, you can say it.
Okay.
There's no rule here.
So I had a better second line than my gray extension cord, but so you've checked this Bible out every weekend for the past 9 years. Wouldn't it be easier to just buy one? Maybe on a librarian's salary.
Hits a little close to home.
It does. It hits a little close to home. It cracked me up.
That was a good one. Well, I will segue that into our winners and losers, and we'll talk about our losers category first, because I actually wrote Reverend Lovejoy down as a loser because of that scene. Because he can't afford a Bible. He has to go buy one.
He has to go borrow one from the library.
Yeah, he has to go get one from the library, so he can't go buy one. Yep. So that actually segued in perfect to that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So who was your loser?
My loser was Homer, because in this episode, Bart took the 75-watt bulb from the basement stairs, and so 3 times Homer goes to go down the basement stairs, and he turns the light on, there's no light, and he just falls from the top stair all the way down the stairs. And then he also was hit with the balls from the batting cage. But the one time that he was going down the basement stairs was he had 2 pies that Marge was making to keep the eggs in the nest warm, and that was the 3rd time that Homer fell down the steps. So I put Homer for my loser for this episode.
I think that makes sense. Yep, he definitely took his lumps in this one for sure. Mm-hmm. So you want to do the winner, or you want me to do the winner?
Go ahead with the winner.
All right. So for my winner, I picked Jasper, and for a kind of a silly reason. So there's a scene where they go into this bird club to get some more information, and it's being run by Skinner. And there's Jasper in there, and there's Mo. And Skinner says something like, you can only mark down birds that you've seen, not ones you've dreamed about or whatever.
Right.
And Moe's like, well, no, that's it for me. But a pigeon flies in, and Jasper sees this pigeon, and he's like, well, that's the last one I need. See you later, losers, and takes off or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or no, it's so long, suckers, he
So
says.
long, suckers.
And he takes off, and so I'm like, man, Jasper, he got
He's
what
a
he
winner.
wanted.
He got his little
Yeah.
dance card filled with birds.
Yep, and he gone out the door. He accomplished what he needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I picked him.
And he was done.
Yep.
So my winner, I'm going with the Bolivian tree lizards because in this episode they get to survive, and not only that, they get to feast on all of the pigeons that are in Springfield. And I think they're winners in this episode.
Plus they can fly. That's pretty.
They can fly,
pretty
and they
cool.
learned how to fly. They
Yeah.
survived some almost gruesome deaths. And
It's like they bring him in, and Skinner's like, "Oh, okay, I'll take care of these," and he's got a paper cutter, and he's about to cut them up.
and he says that they have to die quickly and very gruesomely. So the paper cutter method wasn't going to fly. Bart saved them there, and then he gets a drill, and he's about to,
He's about
do
to
that.
but
And Bart runs away, and then the Bolivian tree lizards, they survive, and Springfield is rejoicing over the tree lizards, but then Lisa wants to know what's going to happen next, and then they talk about snakes coming in, which then reminded me of Whacking Day, and maybe that is why they have all of the snakes. Maybe the lizard episode, it didn't sequentially come before the Whacking Day episode, I don't believe. But,
I know that was a way earlier.
right, but
maybe
maybe
it goes
that's-
back to the Jasper thing, because Jasper saw that pigeon, and then we find out that these lizards eat pigeons, and so everybody in Springfield doesn't like pigeons apparently, and they're glad to see them getting eaten by these lizards.
Yep.
And so, but maybe a snake will be brought in, but that is beyond the episode, so they still win this particular episode. Good choice.
Silly.
Yep.
Silly choice.
So we're going to pick the next episode for next week.
Yep.
All right.
So we're going to do our random drawing. Are you ready? Season 4.
Ooh, one of the early ones. I like that. Season 4.
And then episode 14.
So we'll find out which one that is. Season 4.
Season
Episode
4.
14 is...
So episode 14 of season 4 is Brother from the Same Planet.
Brother from the Same Planet.
And
All right.
Homer's neglect sends Bart looking for a new father. Lisa battles addiction to Springfield Heights 90210 star.
All right. Sounds like a good one. We will be coming at you with that very soon. So thank you very much for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. And until the next time,
Jiminy
Jiminy
Jillikers.
Jillikers.